And one of the things that came out on Sunday, and I did not get the piece of information, and stupidly I should have. It appeared never again in any of the news releases, and we get them in 5 languages. Prince Turki, who is former head of counterintelligence and intelligence and the Air Force in Saudi Arabia, said, look, and he's very pro-American, pro-European, especially pro-British. You cannot allow these people in Israel to go and do what they're doing, because if you do, we're going to have a war, and it will be a war without end. It's going to go on and on and on. Now, this is at least from a Western point of view, this is a good guy. And he's telling them, no, you can't do that. And so when you get somebody like that saying it, you know he knows there's a war plan. And historically, all societies, particularly dictatorships, fascist government, communist government, have chosen war to extricate themselves from financial and economic problems. Second World War is a perfect example. And so that's where we're headed. So you better prepare yourself. You know, in the 1930s, everything went down 60 to 90%. Even if gold stayed exactly where it's at and didn't move, and what happened in the 30s happens again, you're going to be a giant winner. Now, if I'm right, and gold goes to somewhere between $2,000 and $6,000 an ounce, and the other happens, you're not only going to be a giant winner, you're going to be a multi-millionaire. Now, that's not the intention, but it would happen. The intention is to get out of harm's way. And that's what we're trying to do. But that could happen to you. You could become very wealthy. Of course, there's one caveat. You may not live to spend it. So if you have lots of gold and silver-related assets, you better make sure that you're well-armed and get food in.
Yeah, that would be a bummer. Hey, we just got this email in, and you and I talked about this, I don't know, was it earlier today or maybe yesterday? Scott was listening to Gerald Salente from the Trends Research Institute on the radio. He's predicting that in mid-February or early March, the Obama administration will create a financial crisis by passing some draconian economic laws. He predicts a government-induced bank holiday, and possibly one of the draconian laws could be new restrictions on gold. He says he is almost certain Obama will do this in the next 60 days. What are your thoughts? He also says within 6 to 9 months we will be in a full-fledged Great Depression. And how come this guy is all over TV and radio?
Well, that's a good question why he's there. I've never even heard of him before. And I was on the air. They had me on a program with him. Second of all, the Depression has already begun. And I made that announcement here just this last week. 2 years of recession, now we're going into depression. And that was brought up on a program I was on this morning about my being so right. I was the only one who was right about the recession. And some came later, about a year later, and good for them. But we're starting a depression. We don't have to wait 6 to 9 months. It's already here. And I don't like people who get on radio to go and tell people, or television for that matter, that in February there's going to be a bank holiday and there's going to be new draconian laws. Nobody knows that. Nobody. It's a guess. And also, regarding coins, we've all known for a long time that 70 years ago that our government confiscated coins. They probably got 25% of them. So there was pretty good non-compliance. This time they won't even get that much if they were to do it. And I don't think they're going to do it because I think it would cause too much trouble for them. And people don't own as much gold today anywhere near as much as they owned then. I mean, you got to remember, gold went from $20 to $22 an ounce, and then to $32 an ounce, and then to $45 later, and that's official. And so gold has gone up in value, and that's good, but government's not going to step in and do that. I think if government did anything, they would go after the ETF, which is GLD, and say, look, you've got 750 tons or 800 tons of gold here, and we need it, so we're going to take it, and we're going to pay you dollars for it. And, you know, these guys could care less. They'll just get out of the coin store and buy it. And government would accomplish in that manner the gold that they would need to back it up. And they might have to even go after services like gold money. And gold money seems to think that because they have people's gold in their behalf in the Channel Islands that somehow the United States government can't access it. Well, I got news for you. At least in this present situation, and probably for the foreseeable future, until there's revolution in the United States, the U.S. government will access anything it wants. So, you know, it may be illegal, but, you know that they don't care whether something's legal or it isn't. They do what they want to do. So, I don't think people should do those things. I don't think they should set time limits unless they know for absolute certainty. And I've been at this 50 years, and there's very few people who have inside information, I'll tell you.
Yeah, Bob, I can't tell you how many predictions I have heard, and not one of them has panned out. And, you know, one of these days they'll eventually be right, and then all you'll ever hear is,
you know, they're
the ones that, you know, called it on the nose.
Well, look at the North American Union and the Amero. I said 3 years ago it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
And I've been right. Because they didn't back into it the way I did. And they're still howling about it, misleading people.
They were heading in that direction, but, you know, they weren't able to complete it, you know, and it's just like, but you know what, Bob, I can't tell you how many people I talk to where they call me, people just stop living. They go into this mode, and they're frightened, and they're concerned, and, you know, I think we do need to be aware of what is going on, but when people predict dates and everything, and then when that doesn't happen, they go in the opposite direction. You know, well, I've heard that before, and, you know, now I'm not going to pay any attention to anything. So it has a lot of damage.
Well, you know, people in the limelight should not be making what I feel are irresponsible comments. And calling for a bank holiday is irresponsible unless you have concrete proof that you can show and say, and you're in an article or in a program, look, I've got proof. And if you want to see it, I'll show it to you. You know, you often see in my publication, when I know something's true, I'll still call it a rumor, even though I got a great source. I mean, look at what's been going on with the Madoff situation. You know, I get great information. I treat it as a rumor that everything went through the Israeli discount bank and went over to Bank Leumi in Israel. That's where it's all hiding. Now, we got another report came in today to the same effect. And they're going to find out later that's where all the money went. But I'm not going to say that I'm sure. I just treat it as a rumor.
Hey, we're running out of